We're going to be drawing some fireworks today, all kinds of different ways that we can make fireworks. So grab your markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have to work with, and get ready and just kind of draw along with me today as I take you through several different styles. So this one I did on large paper and this one I did on smaller paper. All right, you can see my markers were kind of running out on this one. It still works though. I am going to do this one on smaller paper just so that you can see me better, but feel free to use whatever size paper that you have. All right, so let me get my paper down. All right, and we're going to start off with something I like to call a color bomb. And a color bomb is nothing more than just a color of the paper exploding, sort of a colorful circle. Doesn't matter what color you start with. And you just make a blobby shape. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle by any means. All right, and then I'm going to take another color and I'm going to bring it on around. And so I just fill it in and let that color start to explode. And then I take another color and I do the same thing. And the line when I'm exploding can be wide, but it can be skinny. So you can see this orange is going in there kind of skinny, right? And then I can take another color and go wide again. It really doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of color explosion. And that's what you've got to think about. So not really perfect circular shape. It's just an explosion of color, right? So that would be my color bomb. All right, the next one that I want to show you is sort of a line firework, and this is going to be my line explosion. And the big trick here is once you get started, not to let it touch back on itself because you want it to explode out, keep exploding out. And you're going to start this one again with a plus sign in the middle, and then in the spaces between the lines, you're going to make a little line coming out. So I'm in between the two orange lines, but I'm not touching. And I'm going to explode all the way out. The idea is to keep expanding. All right, so now I have sort of a little space here between the yellow and the orange. Again, notice it's not touching, and between the orange and yellow. And so really between both of my yellow lines, I should be able to put two blue lines. So between both my yellows, two more blues, and you can see how it fills in and it keeps exploding. And I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep letting it get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, if you're just starting the explosion, you might start to keep it a little bit small, but if you want the explosion to get really big, just keep adding. Again, the trick is to get that explosion, don't let the lines touch the lines behind it. All right. And let me do one more layer. And if I accidentally decide I don't want two in there, I want to change it up a little bit. By all means, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of playing around, all right? So however you think it's going to look best, that's what you're doing is you're making that explosion come. Now, I'm going to go back to this one because sometimes it's fun to make one firework explode into the next. So as I'm doing that, I'm going to sort of jump over this little area in here, and then I'm going to let it come back over here. And you can see how this firework jumps underneath that firework, all right? And allow yourself to jump underneath or go over top if you would like to, all right? Okay, so this, we would call this a color bomb, and this is just a line firework. Now, when I was a little girl, we also had these fireworks that we used to call boom balls. And it was nothing but a really bright light, a circular bright light. And then when we saw that light, we knew to cover our ears fast because the next thing was going to be a big, loud boom noise at the end. B-O-O-M, boom. This is called onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia are sound words, words that make sound, like boom, crash, bang. When I write these words in, it adds a little bit of excitement to my drawing. All right, so by all means, you might want to put some sound words and maybe some boom balls into yours. All right, another type of firework that we used to see a lot of, and we used to call these fountains. They come up and they sparkle down. And fountains are kind of easy to draw. You just start off the edge and you kind of like draw a hook, and then you put little X's for the sparkles coming off. And you can have as many hooks on one piece as you would like. And the hooks can overlap the sparkles and it can come off of both sides. There's no right or wrong way. All right. And you can mix up the colors and do several of those sparkles together, or you can put them wherever you want on your paper. And maybe I'm going to have some of these coming back off the other side. All right, so again, those were called fountain fireworks. Right? Sometimes when the fireworks come off, they kind of look like shooting stars. So let me go back to one of my original pieces. And you can see right here where I have the shooting star. I've got that line shooting up and again the star. So in that one, I simply make myself some stars. So I'm going to let this one go over top and I'm going to put my star, capital letter A with really long arms, give it little hands, give it little toes. This hand's going to cross over and touch this toe. This hand's going to cross over and touch this toe. And I'm going to put several stars and I'm going to let another one come right here in the middle. And I'm going to let another one come right down here, wherever I find room. And I'm going to let another one come down here. Oh, forgot, cross it over. All right, and those are going to be my stars. And as it is shooting, I'm going to go ahead and outline them so I can see them better. And as it is shooting forward, I'm going to have little lines shooting out of it. So it's shooting across, and you can see how they're going to show up a little bit better. But those are going to be my star firework, my shooting star. And again, I just overlap straight up over the top. I could jump it underneath if I want to. I'm just going to go ahead and have it shooting on top of everything. All right, my shooting stars going across there. Another one that's really, really, really fun to do is the rocket firework. All right, and making a rocket is very similar to making a house. All right, we are going to start off with you can make yours any color that you want, but you're going to make a triangle for the top of the rocket, and then you're going to make a rectangle coming down. All right, and you could leave it just like this and then start to decorate the firework. I'm going to put little triangular wings coming out of it. And again, I'm going to make this, I could write on it. In this one, I wrote USA. You could do something like that. On this one, I'm just going to put a striped pattern. So maybe the top of this is going to be striped red stripes. And then down below, I think what I'll do is a great big star. Capital letter A, really long arms, hands, give it little toes. There's going to be my star. And maybe then blue lines going across. Anyway, you get to decorate your rocket whichever way you like it best. All right. To make my explosion coming out of the rocket, because it's shooting up in the air, I'm going to start with 3 little lines. 1, 2, 3. And now, again, just like with the line, I don't want my next lines to touch any previous lines, but I do want to bring them between. Hope this can see. So on the outside of the orange, in between the orange coming down, in between the orange coming down, and on the outside of the orange. All right, and then I'll pick another color. And this time I had 3, now I had 4. This time I'll end up with 5. I'll be on the outside of the red, between the red, between the red, between the red, and on the outside. So now I have 5. And each time I add another color, my explosion is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So the lines are going down and down and down, moving on up and off the page. And you can make long lines, short lines. It's really, really up to you. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could try to fit 8 in there, but it'd be going off the edges of the paper if you want to do that. Going all the way, got one on the outside edge. So that's about all I'm going to be able to do it. Another trick that you can do on these, you can just leave the line, or if you want to, you can go back in and put some X's. X's will act like it's sparkling at different places. And you could put X's on all of them. I don't particularly like to do all of them, but I do a few of them. So it's just got a sort of a kind of look to it as it's sparkling through there as that rocket is going up. All right, so we have color bombs and boom bombs and fountains and line fireworks and shooting stars and rockets. What about, and I think I showed you that in one of them, back to my original one, maybe you want a little guy parachuting. So this is just a little guy parachuting. This is my guy kind of dressed up in camouflage parachuting. And to do a parachute guy is really kind of easy too. Decide where you want the parachute. I'm going to put mine way up high, and by doing that, it's further back in the distance. I'll make them a little bit smaller. That means I won't have as much detail as I have in here. He will end up looking more like a little stick man. When they're far away, you won't see as much. When they're landing and getting closer to you, you'll see more detail. All right, so here in the distance, I'm going to start with half of a circle, which is called a semicircle up at the top. So it's going to be sort of a rounded shape up at the top, half of a circle. So I'd put in a line and a curved line over top like a hill. All right, next in the middle, I'm going to draw down below a little head of my guy, his little body, and his little legs. And his arms are going to be reaching up because they're going to be holding on to the string. All right. And now the last thing I need to do is just put on the little strings coming down to the hands of my parachute. And you can color this parachute however you want. You can color it solid. You can put in line pattern. It's really, really up to you, but you've got a little guy floating back down to earth. All right, so think about it. Now, you can finish up your parachutes. You can add more words down at the bottom, like wow. Maybe there's people down there looking and watching. They might be going, ooh, ah, wow. And they might be clap, 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 clapping. All kinds of words that you can do. We've got boom. You might want to hear bang. Um, it's really, really up to you. You can add as many sound words to your fireworks as you want. One last time, I'll put my inspiration piece up. Oh, look, I even put a Chinese dragon in this one. Make up your own kinds of fireworks. It doesn't have to be just these styles. There's just all kinds of ways that you can do it. Have fun.